Hello guys, this is JC Grande. For this video, we are going to study and explore a bit the style of Jack the King Kirby. Let's go. Okay, the first thing that I have in mind when drawing a Kirby inspired character is I try to think about it as if it was a 3D object because Jack's uh, style was so energetic and so powerful that you felt like it exploded in your face. And I've been a fan of his work since I was really young because here in the country where I live in, we got comics in the 80s, but what we got uh, was were reprints of the 60s comics. So the comic publishers that translated those comics in Spanish, they had they had us, uh, read and collect those stories. We At the time I didn't know it was like more than a decade behind the U.S. market, but I had no idea I was reading pretty much the best or some of the best comic artists uh, of all time, at least from the Marvel bullpen. We got the Ramitas, we got the John Buscema's, and all that. So I grew up with Kirby, and this is a character that I'm just uh, making up right now, inspired by the Kirby designs. The thing about Kirby is that he added so much energy, so much power to the figure that he did not care much about anatomy. He was like an impressionistic artist, and he wanted you to feel something like a punch, like things exploding, and it was so dynamic that you, at least I didn't care about the shapes of things that if they do not look uh, naturalistic or anything. And I really enjoyed it. And some of those images I cannot take out of my mind, out of my head, because they were so important for me. They are still. So once in a while, I do some of some Kirby inspired things, and I'm planning to draw a whole comic like that. My own comic in Jack Kirby inspired kind of artwork. Uh, so this is the figure that we did, the rough pencil version. So what is important, uh, at least from my perspective, is that you add as much shape and form to these characters, and in order to make them pop as much as you can from the page. Even though you have it, even though Kirby had them all in the panels, inside the panels, you felt like they jumped up at you. So the way that I do it is start I start identifying the black areas. I do this pretty much with with all the other styles that I try to use for the comics that I work on. But you notice that Kirby did this kind of forms, this kind of shapes, and in your mind you read like this is making things solid. We have the torso here, and we have this kind of shape, and he worked so fast that he didn't care much about the shape of. I mean, if the shapes look realistic or anything, so he just went and do kind of rounded muscles, but inside the muscle he did like straight lines or this kind of shapes, like improvising. I think that improvising something that later became his style, and we all identify it as his style. And he ended up giving us this legacy of the comic book superhero industry that we have right now, because he made so much of an impact. Pretty much what we have right now, and in the superhero market, studying Kirby, I think, would make you a better artist, and it has made me a better artist. And I really enjoyed his work so much. You see, you do your rounded muscles like this, pretty much a shape like this, and then you do this straight line, and then you go in, do the kind of shape that he did, trying to add as much energy as you can to the figure. And he used a very high contrast style. You could see a lot of black areas that he balanced later on. If you study his pencils, you can find some samples over the internet. You would see that he added a lot of contrast to his work, and that helps you to understand a bit more his style. This is the way that I construct, that I build the images that I that I do sometimes as an homage, as a tribute to the king. This is like trying to imitate his work, as it is one of the most effective uh, ways to tell a story. And so I do it like this. I just identify the black areas. I come back with a finer, in this case, a finer pen, and try to build up all the missing parts over here, as we have a larger amount of light in here on the top. So it means that we need a lighter point in here to make it look a bit more refined. And what is also important, if you're exploring Kirby, that I encourage everybody to do it, to explore it, and that you would notice that he was so big on foreshortening and having things coming at you, at the reader. It's so important. It's so really deep into the superhero genre so much that I cannot take those images out of my head really because I grew up with that. And once in a while, I just dream because I would never be as talented like as he was. But I like to dream like that I can do something similar, that I can do some sort of a tribute to Jack and his work. I know I'm sometimes it's kind of I don't know how to say it. It's some people do not see it as a good practice, like to doing to work on a style of another artist. But if you make it, I think if you make it as a tribute, as something that you think that Jack would have liked, I think that's fine. I think that's okay. I have a comic book project that I'm trying to develop, and it's totally Kirby inspired. I know there are a ton of artists that feel so inspired by him and do some sort of their own tributes or comics inspired by his work in the 60s in the Marvel titles and all that. So I like that thing. I like I would like to become part of that, like to have a community of Kirby lovers, that people who loved Kirby and do things together. That would be great. As even though I work in different styles, I think I can work on 4 or 5 styles consistently. This is what really inspires me the most. I might use this character for my comic. Got really inspired by Claw. If you remember Claw from the Fantastic Four, it's a super villain, kind of something like this. This type of mask. And we're going to add some face to this one. The thing that is the most difficult to channel to replicate from Kirby for me are the faces, because it's so personal, so particular, that it's not easy. I mean, you can start playing with the shapes of the bodies and all that, but the faces are something else. It was so unique. It is. So we're going to use some more marker work to make it a bit more refined. And this particular shapes you can see in all of Jack's work. It is something like this, I guess. You do something like this, and then you move it, and you do some sort of a like a little warm area there, and then you make it like wider again. Something maybe something like this. Something. Oh, this shape you can see it all over Jack's uh, work in his anatomy. I think it's something like I can in my brain I can see something like, as a kid you were like, oh, that makes it solid because he did the arm like this, rounded muscles, and did something like that, and then you can find this kind of texture all over the place, and it was like in your mind you go, okay, that makes it solid. That is making the object uh, more like 3D kind of thing. Okay. And Kirby's so important that many legendary artists have begun their careers like imitating Jack, like Barry Windsor Smith and Keith Giffen, uh, and some others that were inspired by the King, and they did great. They did awesome, even though you could tell when someone wasn't Kirby, and you could tell that someone was like imitating or paying homage, uh, paying tribute to Jack, but you could tell that it was not uh, Jack Kirby who drew that because there was something very distinctive. We're going to do something to. Oh, we're going to cover this part over here that I already drew with this example. This is not the one. That way we can cover the thing that we did and also start building our figure much more. We're going to have this guy like land in here from somewhere. And what it is also very cool is what Jack did with technology, uh, artwork in his comics, also with the texture of organic stuff. the Kirby crackle thing and all that. It is used all the time these days as it became part of the language for superhero comic superhero comics. By the way, we're going to add some Kirby crackles in here. See, we can pull it off. This is how I do my Kirby crackles. It's like some sort of energy. It's like coming out of a portal or something like that. And you know what is also great, and I might do another video, or Jack Kirby related video, is the monster work. What he did with monsters. That was really something that you see that he enjoyed, and we as readers enjoyed it as well. What it was really great also from Jack is that the fact that his rendering was so well balanced. You you wouldn't see something that it was over rendered. He knew just what to use and what not to use. And some people say that his work looks simplistic. I couldn't disagree more with that, because if you take a look at all the elements he used for his storytelling, for his composition, you would uh, realize that it was not simplistic at all. I recommend you all the New Gods stuff. I felt like Jack felt much more freedom with that project, uh, as he was the writer and editor there. So that's pure Kirby. And also the fact that Mike Royer kind of was more faithful to his work, even though we all love Joe Sinnott and his work, but it was much more refined. The Fantastic Four stuff was much more refined, but I like Royer a lot because of that, because he kept it very faithful to the pencils. And some details to the cape, the part of the cape. We are going to change the point of the markers, the size of the markers, because in here we have more light. And what's also really hard to imitate or really get from Jack's style for me, besides the faces, is when he drew people on the normal clothes like suits and stuff like that. When I try to draw them, I really find it hard because my own style is, I mean, I make people like thinner, and Jack made them more powerful and more uh, muscular, and I find it hard to understand some of that. I mean, how he did it, but I'm starting it because, as I said, I'm planning to draw more, a curb inspired comic. So I'm trying to use all the stuff that I have studied from his work. I made this character on the go, just inspired by all the Jack Kirby images in my mind. But I will use it maybe as a villain or something. And I think we are getting there. So I think just gonna add something to the background a bit more. Maybe some rocks or anything like that, or something like that. A bit of more Kirby crackle. Okay, let's use this one for the crackle. It's like, crackling energy. You feel it like it is alive. This energy is moving, rotating. Even though I'm not an expert on all Jack Kirby aspects, he's one of my favorite of all time, one of my favorites of all time, and try to, every time that I get in front of one of his images, just devour it with all uh, the awesomeness that you can get from his work, because I cannot help it. I am really, I enjoy his work a lot. really. So I'm constantly looking for his work, and when I see something that I hadn't seen before, I just couldn't help staring at it for a long time. And that's how you learn to do styles. You just try to observe a lot because you pretty much we don't have enough. I mean, a lot of time to practice uh, another people's style because I have your own. I mean, I'm talking about myself. I don't do not have a lot of time for studying other artists' styles, particularly the Silver Age style. But I do it through observation. I just like to observe a lot and try to do some reverse engineering on things. I think we pretty much have our Kirby inspired image here. This is the final result. I hope you guys enjoyed going over this as a tribute to the king of comics. So I encourage you to go and find his work, to study his work, to understand how he did his storytelling, which is the most valuable thing, and his powerful 3D like style. I encourage you to do it because I became a better artist by studying his work, definitely. And it is such a pillar of all the superhero industry right now. Uh, so, hope you enjoyed the video. I will be doing more stuff. Remember, this channel is updated daily, so be sure to subscribe and come and join us in here in this channel. Thank you very much for your attention and your time, and see you next video.